What is up, Luke and friends? Wade here, Pokemon TCG. All right, so exciting news today. We hit level 4 on TCGPlayer. So that was our phase 1 goal. And so now we have reached phase 1. So before we go into phase 2, I want to go over some of the phase 1 numbers and then put a cap on it, and I can start focusing more on phase 2. So our whole goal was to go for level 4 on TCGPlayer. The reason for that is because you get mass pricing tools, and then you can do the pro seller site if you want. But basically, it's the mass pricing tools because I don't have the time, because I have 2 other businesses that I'm working on, to be able to like manually go fix the pricing every day. Even if I was to use a third-party software where they would do it for you in a spreadsheet and you would upload it, I don't want to have anything to do with that. It sounds like a good idea. I'm never going to do that consistently, so it's worth the percentage points to go ahead and do that for me. And then also the pro seller site on TCGPlayer, the fees are way less on that. And that's in alignment with me trying to build a brand right through the YouTube channel where I can start sending people there. So then I will actually make, the ultimate goal is to decrease the amount of fees on the cards as much as possible. So we'll talk more about phase 2 and sort of the goals for phase 2 and what that's going to look like. Spoiler alert, that's going to be the bulk phase, right? And we're already well under our way on bulk in Pokemon. So but for right now, for today's video, all I want to do is go ahead and show you the level 4 stats and kind of give you some little pearls of wisdom that maybe will help you if you're trying to get to level 4. And so if you don't know who I am, I'm Wade. I'm Pokemon TCG. And so I'm doing this channel in order to document the sort of the history of me as I build a Pokemon business for my son Luke so that he can take it over if he wants. If he doesn't want to, that's great. But I'm going to build this business that I can basically teach him business through this Pokemon business. And even if he doesn't want the Pokemon business, the TCG card business, he can use those lessons in another business. And so that's why at the end of these videos, I try to remember, if I can remember, what's the lesson for Luke from today. So, all right. So please hit that subscribe button, like, that really helps. And we'll go from there. So level 4 stats. So my whole theory on level 4 was that I wouldn't mind paying someone just to make me level 4, right? And so that meant that if that's true, if I could say, hey, here's X number of dollars, just instantly make me level 4 with a certain number of good reviews, and that just happened, I would pay money to do that. So once I realized that, I was like, I'm okay with adopting a strategy to where that I'm not going to make money. In fact, I know I'm going to lose money with the strategy that I adopted. And actually, that is what I did. I did, in fact, lose money. But I'm totally comfortable with the money that I lost because it wasn't a huge number, right? So let me kind of walk through the stats. So I spent $381.33 on cards between $4.50 and $6.50. And what I was looking for in this range was just modern cards. So only Mega Evolution. So it had to be either Mega Evolution, that's where I started, or one of its expansions, right? So Ascended Heroes, whatever. If you were a card between $4.50 and $6.50, I just bought you and put you up for sale. So an interesting thing was each expansion pack actually had about 10 cards within that range, give or take. So it was an interesting thing that I noticed that for each set, there's always around 10 cards between $4.50 and $6.50. So, all right. So I bought these cards, and I actually, because I'm a moron, I was like, oh yeah, I'll buy 51 cards. So when I started, I bought 51 cards, and the reason was because I thought that equaled 51 orders. Okay. Now, it does not, because obviously people can order more than one card. There's no way that I'm aware of that you can limit someone to just buying one card other than just listing one card and then just sitting around and waiting for it, right? So I spent $381.33 on the cards between this number, and I bought 51 cards. And then I had to actually end up buying some additional cards. So I ended up purchasing total of 76 cards. And that's what this number here was from, is the 381.33, right? Now, and then after fees and everything, I actually did 52 sales. So somebody snuck one in there before I turned it off, right? Which is fine. 52 sales, and the 52 sales netted me $238.04. Okay. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That was what I ended up after profit. Okay. This is what I ended up spending on the cards. Okay. So that's the math I figured out. I spent $238.04. And then I got like a bunch of 5 out of 5 positive reviews, something like 21 or 25 or whatever it is. So if you would have told me and said, hey, Wade, if you pay me $240, I'll instantly make you a level four seller and we'll have like 20 plus 5 out of 5 reviews. Yeah, I would have given you that money in a heartbeat, right? So I'm happy with this result. Okay. Some tips is what I did was what I found out was 3 cards at a time. If I listed them and made them the lowest listing, then they would sell, right? So I would list 3 cards, and the reason why I would list 3 cards was because it didn't hurt as much if someone bought all of them, right? There was a couple times where I had 4 cards listed, and for whatever reason, psychologically, when someone buys all 4 cards, you're like, oh, that one hurts, right? So I would just list 3 cards at a time. Now, what was interesting, and I talked about this in the gumshoes problem, was that in the first week of listing cards, there weren't a lot of level 4 sellers on some of these cards. And so all I had to do was be a penny less than the lowest other person because they were also doing the $1.49 shipping because the $1.49 shipping is forced upon you when you set your shipping at 0. Okay. So TCGPlayer says you must advertise at $1.49 at a minimum, even if you set all of your shipping to 0. So let's say someone had a card for $4, I would just be $3.99 plus the $1.49 because they'd be 4 plus $1.49 and I'd be the lowest listing, and I would just sell. Those cards would sell relatively quickly. But then about halfway through the selling process, about 10 days in or a week in, all of a sudden there were these level 4 sellers everywhere. And so level 4 sellers, it's a little bit different. You can't be like a penny less than them plus the 149 because the way that TCGPlayer does it is that you have to actually, they look at that $5 floor as the possible price. So you have to literally be, if theirs is $4, right, plus 149 shipping or free shipping after $5, then you can't be $3.99 plus 149 to be lower than them. You have to be $4 minus 150. So you have to actually be at 250 plus. You have to be at 250 to be able to be lower than them. And what sucks about that is that because then you lose a whole $1.49 of shipping, right? So that's when things we started like we were actually doing okay in the first 7 days. And by we I mean just me because that's the business. I guess me and Luke, right? But for whatever reason, after that, there was just an inundation of level 4 sellers that were just listing their shipping at 0, and so I had to take like $1.50 off of every card to sell it, right? But that's my well, right? My well. Let's give it. There it goes. Okay, so production value problems are a feature, not a bug. All right, so then we started to lose some money on the cards then because we were like losing $1.50 per card because of the level 4 competition, and I didn't want to wait, so I didn't. Right. So again, we ended up having about and these numbers are approximate, but this $238 that I spent, right? Basically, was that the 238 profit or was that the $238 that I spent? Spent. We spent 381 on cards, 206 on supplies, which gave us 587, and we made 249. Okay, that makes sense now. And we made 249, and then I don't know, whatever. I ended up spending $300, $400 on cards. We made like 200 back. We lost like $181. This number is wrong. This is however much money I meant. This is why I became a lawyer, not a doctor. All you got to know is this is some number between 140 and 238. I'm willing to spend it to get there. Okay. You want to do 3 cards listed or 4 cards listed, right? And that will get you to you don't feel so bad when someone buys all of your cards. And then you want to do cards between 450 and 650. Now, you can focus right now on, hey, Wade didn't really do his math correctly. And I think I think this is what this did indeed end up costing me. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care about how much it cost me. It cost me money, and this is a lesson I want Luke to learn, is that money compresses time frames for you. So whatever that number was, and I'll go back and I'll figure it out again, but I'm too lazy to reshoot this video, is that whatever the number was, I'm willing to pay it. All right. Now, obviously, I got to get these numbers more dialed in for the next set of things, but there's enough money left over in the account that I was able to buy some bulk cards and a card slinger and the scanning software that I'm going to use. And we'll talk about that in phase 2. But this is the lesson that I want Luke to learn. Number 1 is that accurate information isn't always necessary as long as you're in the ballpark for certain things. And so for certain things, I kind of vaguely know, yeah, I hit where I wanted to go, and then I have money left over and I spend it, we're fine. Going forward, we got to be a lot more accurate in the business. But money is attracted to speed. So you can sit here and you can bean count every single dollar and be like, but I was going to spend this money no matter what it was. If this was $500, I was going to spend it because whatever that number would have been, I would have spent it to get to be level 4 because money can compress time frames. Or you can just sit around trying to sell bulk to get 51 sales where no one's ever going to buy your stuff, right? So this was a strategy that I adopted. It worked, and I got the 51 plus 1 sales in 17 days. Now I had to wait, obviously, after the 17 days for the 10 days or whatever for everything to clear. So it took about 25, 7 to 10 days, so about 25 days. But now I'm a level 4 seller, let's say. But it took 17 days to actually make the 51 sales. So that was pretty cool. And so let's call it a month from buying all the stuff, learning the thing, putting it on there, phase 1 complete. So now we're going to go into phase 2. And I can not have to think about phase 1 anymore because now I'm a level 4 seller. And now we go into phase 2, which is what is phase 2? Phase 2 is going to be phase 2 equals establish the bulk foundation. The foundation of the business is going to be bulk, and there's 4 reasons why we're going to talk about that. One is it doesn't cost me any. I already have the money to buy it. I already bought 10,000 cards in Pokemon, 10,000 cards in Pokemon cards in bulk. I already bought them. Now I'm sifting through them and sorting them. I already have 1,000 of them sorted in my inventory, and they're going to go into reasons why phase 2 is bulk. But that's what we're doing next. So that's the lesson that I want Luke to learn, is that money can compress time frames. You don't have to always be perfect with all of your numbers. Yeah, I probably could have done that a little bit better, but you get the point, right? So if you're the type of person that focuses on, wait, you got it wrong, then you're not going to make it. If you're the type of person that focuses on, I get it, I see the principle, you probably could have done that better, but let's move on to the next thing. You're the type of person that can hang with me. So hit that subscribe button. So once again, thank you so much. Luke and friends, I hope you learned something from this today, and we will talk again about phase 2.